Good afternoon, Fin fans, and welcome back to another episode of AT Fins News. So now that we're on the eve of the draft, in this episode, we're going to be looking at potential moves the Miami Dolphins might be trying to make or be making in the later rounds to help shape this overall football team for this upcoming season. So without further ado, let's just get right into it, shall we? So, guys, I know I haven't been here for about, I think it's 12 days now, almost 2 weeks. I kind of went on a little vacation, hung out with the family, enjoyed the spring weather with all of them. But now it's time to get back into it, right? So, like I said, we're on the eve of the draft. There's a lot of rumors out there. This is the rumor season right now for the NFL where every player is going to your favorite football team, right? You hear it from everywhere. The 49ers are trading Deebo Samuel to the Dolphins. Oh, now now the Jets are front runners to get Deebo Samuel. So there is a lot of rumors being just spread out there. It's rumor season, but the NFL season will come more into shape as far as once the draft is completed. Right now, the Miami Dolphins, as we know, don't have a first or second round pick in this upcoming draft. So we're not going to be picking until late day two for the third round picks. So the first thing we're going to be doing is just looking at some targets that the Dolphins might be interested in if they just stand pat, no trades, no anything, and just stand pat at their third round pick. There's a few names, as far as we have a few holes, not too many, but we have a few that we could either maybe get a starter or get depth at the position, right? So the first thing is we all know we need another linebacker for this linebacker unit. I do like the linebacking unit we have right now if we put each player in the right position, because Jerome Baker did struggle as a Mike linebacker last year until they finally put him outside where his normal position was, and he thrived in that position. So if everything stands pat and we can add another linebacker, we definitely should be keeping our eyes out on Brian Asamoah. He's Oklahoma linebacker. He's phenomenal. The only thing that I have hesitations on is his size. He's kind of small. He really is not that efficient at playing the Mike linebacker. But in the third round, this guy's the real deal. As long as our defensive linemen can keep the offensive lineman from reaching the second level and getting to this linebacker, he can really cover the field sideline to sideline. He has excellent speed and his athletic ability. That's what he's known for. So he can be a 3-down linebacker. He's probably not going to come in right away and start right out of the gate, but he's definitely a good developmental piece. He already has that athletic ability, like I said, so he can cover on passing downs. The thing that's kind of a downside on Landon Roberts, right, at Mike linebacker, you have to take him off the field on third down or passing situations because he really struggles, where this guy can come in right away. He can be a third down linebacker, a pass coverage linebacker. He has the speed and the athletic ability to do so. And to be able to pick him in like the third or fourth round, I just think it's excellent value for us. So be on the lookout for Brian Asamoah to get picked in late day 2, early day 3. And if the Dolphins can select him, that would be a great pick and a great find in the third or fourth round for the Miami Dolphins. Another potential draft target that we can be looking at, because we all know, me personally, I've always wanted J.C. Treader. And I still think maybe we can get him depending on what we get in the draft. Maybe the Miami Dolphins are actually waiting to see if a lineman falls to them later in the rounds that they really like to develop, or if they want to go and get that proven guy, which I think they should, J.C. Treader, and just make this line dominant right away, not hoping for a draft pick. But if we do go that route, there is a couple linemen that can either transition to center or just help this line in general being a depth piece, because like I said, I don't believe they're going to come in day one and be the starter over the guys we have right now. But a guy that we should be keeping our ear out for is Luke Fortner. He's from Kentucky. He's athletic. He can be a transitional center. He's like a guard center. his athletic ability is amazing. I mean, maybe not amazing, but I mean it's extremely good. He is. I mean, he's not a prototypical center just because he doesn't have that much experience right now, but he definitely has the capability to become our center. I mean, look at Michael Dieter. We drafted him to be one of our tackle or guards. We understood that he couldn't be that efficient at that level, maybe at a guard, but we moved him to center. And I mean, he's not a top 10 center by any means, but he's serviceable. Unless, of course, we can go out and get a J.C. Treader like I've been banging the table for since the start of free agency when the Browns released him. But Luke Fortner, he does have the athletic ability. He's great at run blocking, especially in like the zone blocking scheme that we're most likely going to be running with Mike McDaniel. He is going to have to work on his pass protection. That's why I'm a little worried about that. But as far as running the ball, he's great at getting off the line of scrimmage fast. He can get to the second level. He's great at if you're gonna maybe pull him. He was really good in Kentucky at pulling. So that's another name to keep an eye out and probably early day 3. He could be available, and the Dolphins should definitely take a look at him if he's still there in the 4th round. Another person, just because of we all know. Mike McDaniel or Kyle Shanahan and their type of offense, they love running backs, right? They love speedsters. They do things really by committee. But this guy fills all the boxes. He's a 3-down running back. We can probably get him in the 4th, 5th round. But Pierre Strong Jr., I mean, he's excellent. He runs a 4.340. I mean, he can. The good thing about him is a 3-down running back. He can pass protect. He can run the ball through the tackles on 1st and 2nd down. But the thing that separates him for a lot of guys in this draft is his pass catching ability. I mean, he was one of the best in college football, catching the balls out of the backfield, and with this speed, making things happen after the catch. So remember his name in day 3 of the draft, and if he's still there, the Miami Dolphins should definitely take a look at him. And one other name, guys, I'm just going to throw out there just because we're always talking about fixing this offensive line. That's one of the weakest spots we've had for the last 10 plus years. We could really never get the offensive line right, so why not put as much draft picks in the offensive line until you can finally solidify it, right? Bring that depth in, bring that competition in, and let them all compete, and iron sharpens iron. So that's the best way I can describe it. So keep pouring those assets into the line until you can find a dominant line that can help Tua and this Miami Dolphins team reach the heights they want to reach in the upcoming season, right? So another name that's probably going to be there in round 4 and 5 is Zach Tom. Another lineman, another guy that you can actually move to center if you want to get Michael Dieter out of there, because we have seen film of him getting pushed back. And as far as Tua being a shorter quarterback, that's one of the spots on the field you do not want pressure coming from, and that's right up the middle. So if you want to move off of Dieter or move him to guard somewhere, if he improves, you could be looking at like a Zach Tom. This guy gets off the line of scrimmage, one of the fastest in college football last year. He's great at run blocking. He's pretty darn good at pass blocking. He's a proven guy. You're able to get him in the later rounds just because he's not as athletic as these other linemen coming out. But he has the technique. He's going to have to get a little stronger, of course, coming out of college. But, I mean, he has all the capabilities of maybe later in the season. If someone gets hurt, he can come and fill that hole, and we're not going to feel like we're really missing as much because we have a guy that's pretty well developed sitting on the bench waiting for something like this to happen so he can step in and not just ruin our whole team by a lineman getting hurt because you got a guy like Zach Tom to fill out that overall depth, right? So those are just a few names that you should be keeping your eye out for the Dolphins later on in the draft, since they're not drafting in the 1st or 2nd round, to help build this overall team, right? So now that we're done with talking about like the draft picks, these are some moves the Dolphins have the ability to make this team just blow our mind how good this team could be. And I don't even know necessarily if we need this guy, but there has been a lot of talks on social media, on other YouTube platforms about Deebo Samuel, right? We can't get enough of Deebo Samuel. Even if you go to the Twitter spaces on Twitter, there's a lot of commentary and a lot of individuals that are Miami Dolphin fans talking about Deebo Samuel to the Miami Dolphins, right? Of course, I mean, I would love Deebo Samuel on the Miami Dolphins. If the Miami Dolphins were able to bring in that salary, the money that he wants to make, and have a Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Deebo Samuel trifecta. Of course, who wouldn't want Deebo Samuels on the team? He's so dynamic. You've seen what he did for the 49ers all last year when healthy. You've seen what he did with the 49ers playoff run. If it wasn't for Deebo Samuel catching the ball, breaking tackles, running through tackles for first down after first down, the 49ers probably wouldn't have been in the NFC Championship, to be honest with you. So, of course, he's a dynamic player, but I just don't know if the Miami Dolphins see that they need a Deebo Samuel. I know the Mike McDaniel connection, of course, but reports are coming out now that Deebo Samuel doesn't even really want to be a wide receiver / running back. He wants more of a traditional wide receiver role, which good for him. I mean, he sees how much running backs get hit and how often running backs get hurt and how short their lifespan is in the NFL. So, of course, he just wants to be a traditional wide receiver and make the Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill money. I mean, he's a smart man if he wants to do that, right? So, I just don't see with the Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle and then Cedric Wilson Jr., I don't see necessarily the need, but boy, if we can go out there and the report is, I mean, we're going to be trading maybe one first-round pick next year, but see, this is where it gets complicated, guys. It would be easy for me to say, yeah, go for it. Who cares about next year's first-round pick? We got a solid team. Let's go get Deebo Samuel. Let's make it the best wide receiver trio in NFL history, in my opinion, at least. You guys can argue me on that if you want, but if you had a Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and a Deebo Samuel all on the same field, I don't know if you can name me a better wide receiver trio than that in the entire NFL history, as far as traditional wide receivers all on the same field on the same team at once. The thing is, we would be giving up or risking our future because we still don't know what we have in Tua Tagovailoa, and that's no. I'm not throwing shots at him. I'm not being a Tua hater. I wanted them to draft him originally whenever we did draft him 5th overall. But to say that you wouldn't be risking the future because we don't know if we have a franchise quarterback, that's a fair assumption to make because we're holding on to those first-round picks next year. In my opinion, the organization is because if they find out that Tua is not the guy, they're going to use those picks to either get a veteran quarterback or move up in the draft to get a quarterback that they truly believe in and think can be a day one franchise starting caliber quarterback. And if we had a quarterback that we knew for sure was our franchise quarterback, I wouldn't care about that first round pick. But if we give away that first round pick to the 49ers for Deebo Samuel, pay him $30 million a year or whatever he's wanting, I mean, and then we don't know for sure of our quarterback, that's really mortgaging the future, and that's something that I don't know if I'm willing to do. Another rumor out there is, too, because a lot of people don't know this, but by Monday, the Dolphins have to pick up Christian Wilkins' 5th-year option. And if they don't, then they lose out on that 5th-year option. And based on how he played last year, is one of the best defensive linemen in the league per PFF. I don't see how they don't pick up the 5th-year option unless they were trying to trade him. Again, I do not want to trade Christian Wilkins. He's one of my favorite players. His energy on the field is so contagious, in my opinion. Playing sports all my life, you you need, as far as a team atmosphere, you need a guy like that on your team just to build everyone up because, I'll tell you guys right now, there's days you don't want to go and do what they're doing day in and day out and grinding. But when you have a player like that on your team that brings out that infectious energy, it's just contagious to the whole team and it makes it funner to go to work every day. And to lose him would probably hurt our team, even though we have Zach Seiler that's, if not just as good, better than him each year. He's performed better than him through PFF rankings. And he was a lower round pick, so we wouldn't have to pay him as much. I still would want that Christian Wilkins in the room, but I understand if they wanted to trade him because they don't want to pay him $15-16 million a year after the fifth-year option, because that's probably what he's going to demand based on how he's performed last year and probably going to perform this year as well. So that could be a name as well that the 49ers, instead of giving the first-round pick, you can give Christian Wilkins to the 49ers and a third-round pick for Deebo Samuel. See, now there, even though I don't want to get rid of that type of player, you're not giving away one of your first-round picks, not mortgaging too much of the future because you have Zach Seiler in place that outperformed him last year. That's a possibility again, but do you really want to give up that infectious personality in the locker room? That's, time will tell on that, I guess. But that's basically a person's preference more than anything, what you want. The game nowadays is transitioned to more of an offensive game, so if you can have these trio of wide receivers on one field, that's going to cause so much havoc for defensive. Like, there was no way a team will have three corners to match up with these three receivers in the league, so it'd be a matchup nightmare, I understand. So maybe that's the route the Dolphins are looking to do. Maybe they're looking to trade Mike Gesicki. There's rumors on that too, but I wouldn't want to trade Mike Gesicki. I would like to see how he works in this offense with the Mike McDaniel offense. The only concern, like all of our concern, is Mike Gesicki is not a willing blocker. If he can become a willing blocker, then we can talk about a top 10 tight end in the league or top 5 tight end in the league. Right now, just based on his blocking ability, I couldn't put him up in the top 5 tight ends in the league range just because he's not a willing blocker. But I still would like to see him in this offense. But there is rumors that Mike Gesicki could be traded to the Arizona Cardinals or a team like that. So be on the lookout for that. I wouldn't want to see that, obviously, but they're talking for a reason. They're just trying to gauge teams' interest to see what teams are willing to give up in draft picks or players for some of the Miami Dolphins players. That's all Chris Greer is doing. He's a big wheeling and dealing man. Ever since he's been our GM, he's traded draft picks, moved up in the draft, moved down in the draft. So if there's one thing we can for sure count on is Chris Greer either moving down or up in the draft somewhere or trading a player for another player. But the whole Deebo Samuel thing to the Dolphins, guys, if it does come to fruition and that happens come Thursday night in the draft, you think we're excited now as Dolphin fans, like in the whole community. It would be off the walls if from the end of last season till now to say that you have a Tyreek Hill, Deebo Samuel, Jalen Waddle, and Teron Armstead, and Connor Williams, and Cedric Wilson. Just as depth. Our offense is looking better than it's looked in the last, I would say, 10 plus years, and that's easy in my opinion. So, but we'll see how it all turns out, guys. They still have to put it all together, get together on the field, and we'll see how it works out. We got to see how Mike McDaniel can adjust to the NFL during half times and stuff like that. There's still a lot to be seen, but as far as our fan base right now, it's extremely excited, which is great to see, especially at the start of the off season with all the reports of Stephen Ross's shenanigans that he's doing with the tanking, offering Brian Flores $100,000 to lose each game, stuff like that, to where we are now. I mean, it's just an amazing feeling. Maybe there is a light at the end of the tunnel, right? But other than that, guys, that's it for this one. What I will be doing is I won't be doing like a live draft just because we're not going to be picking till the third round. Next year we will do an actual live show for the draft where we can talk and go back and forth through the comment section and have people maybe on the show just to offer their feedback of who they want to pick in the draft. But this year, I would say on Friday, after the Dolphins select Friday, of course, unless there's breaking news, like we do got that Deebo Samuel trade in the works where it's happening, so I'll jump on and talk to you guys about it. But if not, I'll be back on Friday, just probably not Friday. I'm gonna say Saturday after the Friday draft, just to give you my thoughts on who we selected, or if we even selected based on any trades that might happen, or if we have trades. So you'll definitely see me back. Probably on Saturday, just to give you my thoughts on everything that happened on Thursday and Friday. But I'll definitely be back later on the week, guys. Like always, I appreciate each and every one of y'all. I love you all. Thanks for the support. And if you're new to watching this stream, if you guys can please just hit that subscribe button so we can help our channel grow organically, because that's what it's all about, just helping this channel grow organically and bringing people Dolphins content, which people can't get enough of. So other than that, guys, fins up. I love you all. I'm out. Peace.